UK tourists send sympathy to Lanzarote and Tenerife as they cancel their holidays. That's just one of the ridiculous headlines in the mainstream media regarding the upcoming protests that are going to be happening on the 18th of May here in Lanzarote and Tenerife. I'm here yet again to tell you the truth of what these protests are about. So come on, let's get into it. For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Mr. TravelON. I have been in the Canary Islands for well over 20 years. I've been in tourism pretty much all my life, and there were protests before this. In fact, it's been going on for a while and I've covered every single stage of them. So what's it all about, and do you need to worry, and do you need to cancel your holiday? Well, the first thing I will say is nobody here in the Canary Islands needs your sympathy. And if you're cancelling your holidays based on a report in the mainstream media, well, then maybe you're not the type of person that the Canary Islands needs. Because if you're going to listen to the mainstream media and everything that they push out, you may as well lock the doors and never leave the house again. All these hotels here are built specifically for tourism. And nobody in Lanzarote or the Canary Islands does not want tourism. In fact, tourism is one of the most important things to these islands. And just look how beautiful they are. As we walk up here, I'd like to point out how clean everything is as well. But the mainstream media will have you thinking that the islands are overrun and they can't cope with mass tourism. The real problem is nothing to do with tourists. As I've said, tourism brings money to the islands, brings investment to the islands. And these hotels are perfect for tourists, aren't they? What's not good for tourism is small apartments that could sleep a family of 4 in a city centre like Arrecife or in the back streets of tourist resorts that are now being rented out as holiday homes. Therefore, meaning nobody has anywhere to live, and the price of rents has gone through the roof. So you can see just how big these hotels are. And these hotels have a lot of workers in them. Now, these workers work tirelessly day and night to make sure your holiday is fantastic, whether it be cleaners, chefs, waiters and waitresses. I don't think any of the local residents will be protesting against not having jobs. However, the average salary for working in a hotel like this is anything from between €1,200 to about 1,500, maybe 1,700. The average rents is about 1,000 plus. Now, I've covered this story so many times, and there's even a group that has been set up here in Lanzarote and Tenerife called Lanzarote Loves Tourism and Tenerife Loves Tourism. And these are local businesses that rely on you coming on holiday that are saying, listen, please stop listening to the mainstream media. These are not anti-tourism protests. These are government protests because the government is doing absolutely nothing for the people that live on the islands. Why? Well, because they're too busy doing other things. So this apartment here, for example, has what's called a VV license. That means it's a holiday home. Well, you could say that it's suited to be a holiday home, isn't it? It's certainly a holiday home, isn't it? Front line, sea views. I mean, your average worker probably couldn't afford to buy or rent one of these anyway. But these VV licenses have not only been given to all of these holiday homes and holiday complexes, but they've literally been handed out to everybody. If you've got a flat or a room literally in the back streets of nowhere, well, they were handing out VV licenses like they were in a strip club. Yes, indeed. Like everywhere around the world, we've got a government in place that hasn't got a clue. The people that are in charge are not qualified for the jobs that they do. They're too busy putting on events and entertainment to keep us all busy clapping our hands, while behind the scenes they're doing absolutely nothing to help the residents of the islands. These protests are mainly normal people that just want a better standard of living and have something up there that says, listen, we do not want tourism, but we do need somewhere to live and we do need to have a life ourselves. It's the small percent of these protesters that are saying, we don't want tourism. And they're the ones with not much up here, are they? And in my opinion, they're not against the people in charge. They're actually working with the people in charge to spin the message that the problem is you guys coming on holiday and not those lot sitting in an office without a clue of what they're doing. So Are the protests going to affect you if you come on holiday to Tenerife or Lanzarote? Well, I covered the last protests and they were in the capital city, where the government buildings were. As reported in the mainstream media, which is the truth, they are taking things a little bit more serious this time, because the last protest achieved not a lot. So they're taking it straight to government. Now, the mainstream media says they're taking it straight to tourist locations. You may see some hotel staff protesting, but that's against the hotel and their working conditions and, of course, their salary. Other than that, the protests should be more in the areas that the government offices are. Some people and some of the narrative is saying that the hotels are to blame with all-inclusive and that there should be less hotels. They're saying that instead of building places for people to live in, well, they're building hotels. Remember, these hotels are built by companies, not the government. What are the government doing to build affordable accommodation for people? Well, they're building nothing, and there's so many places here on the islands that are left unfinished and untouched, and this is all red tape. There are so many places like this behind me that have been built and have not been touched or finished. This again is all down to those in charge and the red tape that is needed to finish these off. Politics just causes problems, and this is a political problem. It's not a tourist problem. Now, don't get me wrong, they are building here in Lanzarote, and you can see there are some houses being built here. My only concern here is, are these houses built for people that live here, or are they actually more tourist style? I'm not sure if the normal person that's working in a hotel or working in the tourism industry on a low salary is going to be able to afford one of these. They look a little bit too luxury for me, don't they? What's certainly clear is the government are granting licenses for places like this to be built, but are not building affordable community housing that can house local people. Now, some of you will comment and say that these places here won't be given tourism licenses, and that is true. They're saying that there'll be no more tourism licenses given, and if you do buy one of these, you have to live in it. Now, like I said, is the normal worker, the normal family that's on a very low wage, going to be able to afford something like this? I doubt it very much. So if they're protesting to get better wages, better working conditions, and be able to live, well, I think that is their right, don't you? But they're not protesting against you, I can assure you of that. A lot of the protests as well are about new hotels being built, like this one behind me. This is the biggest hotel in the Canary Islands. Now, I've got a soft spot for this hotel, and it has generated so much work for the local people. They employ lots of people in these big hotels, but with nowhere for people to live, it's a double-edged sword. The local people are not just sick of licenses being granted to hotels and big places like that. It's also places like this. Huge, beautiful villas being built here, while the locals have nowhere to live. I mean, this looks absolutely stunning, doesn't it? It really is a complex situation, and I don't know what the solution is, but I know who can solve it, and that is those people in charge, if they put their minds to it and actually want to solve it. But this isn't a problem just in the Canary Islands. This is a problem all over the world, with all governments, where people from outside the country are coming in and buying up all the property. Now, I'm sure there's people on here that are watching that have got holiday homes here in Lanzarote, Tenerife, Gran Canaria, Fuerteventura. And again, the local people are not against you either. I mean, holiday homes have been around for years, haven't they? After all, a holiday home is a holiday home for you to stay in when you go on holiday and for you to rent out for people on holiday. It's the places that are not specifically made for holidays that are being rented out, and this is the major issue. While those that own holiday homes can't be to blame, you also can't blame landlords. I mean, if you own a home or a second home and you rent it out to someone that lives here, well, again, because of those people in charge, the law states that if you move into a property, you don't have to pay the rent and you cannot be evicted, especially if you have children. So there's no protection for landlords. So put yourself in the shoes of landlords that own a second accommodation, wherever it is, whether it be in a tourist resort or out of a tourist resort. Who would you rather rent to? Your normal holiday maker that's going to come for 1 week and 2 weeks with a very slim chance of them wrecking your accommodation. You're guaranteed to be paid and you're probably going to get double your money. Or rent to a family that have good references, have a job, but maybe they lose their jobs, or maybe they find that they're struggling a couple of months out of the year and they decide, well, they can't afford the rent and you can't evict them at all. Again, it's all politics. They're not offering security to those that rent accommodation out and landlords. They're not building accommodation that could be used to house people, whether it be government funded or whether it be lower rents. They're just not doing anything. What they are doing, though, is telling the mainstream media to tell you lot that it's your problem and that everybody on the islands has a problem with tourism. It's all a big distraction. I mean, surely if they stepped in and sorted that problem out, well, nobody would be blaming the hotels either. All-inclusive as well has been mentioned, that all-inclusive is ruining the economy because nobody's out eating and drinking. All-inclusive is just a little bit more than full board. No one ever moaned about full board, breakfast, dinner, lunch, did they? The same people that are blaming hotels and all-inclusive need to understand that if the hotels close down, people will seek accommodation that could be perfect for people that live here. So it swings and roundabouts, isn't it? Let me know in the comments what you think. For me, I'm just here to get the message out there that these protests are nothing against you guys coming on holiday. The Canary Islands, Tenerife, Lanzarote, Gran Canaria and Fuerteventura rely on tourism. We're a tourist destination and we're open 365 days a year. Now, I'm not a local. I can't speak for the Canarian people. I've lived here for 20 years, but I still consider myself a visitor to these beautiful islands. What I can do is go out and speak to the people on these protests, and I will be there on May the 18th, interviewing people and asking them what is it that they want and what is the message that needs to be sent back to you guys coming on holiday. I hope that's put your mind at rest, and I hope that has given you a little insight as to what these protests are about. They're not anti-tourism protests, they're protests against those people in charge, which, let's face it, around the world there seems to be a lot of people in charge that are unqualified for the job. This is not a Lanzarote and Tenerife issue, this is a world issue. At least the Canarian people are standing up and trying to get their voices heard. There's a lot of places out there where everybody is silent and saying nothing. Anyway, for all travel news, anything travel, whether it be Canary Islands or around the world, make sure to follow this channel because I try and bring it to you real and I try and tell you exactly the truth. I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to like, follow and subscribe. See you later.